Okay, here we go. I want to congratulate Coco on her election as president of the Student Council of here. And I didn't actually get to hear the speeches, but I know that Coco asked for something for more than just TED Talks. Is that right? So we have a TED Talk in person today. That quality. I saw Mrs. Green speak about 2 months ago at Rotary, and I was so impressed and said, we've got to have her come to St. Gregory. Some of you may have seen or met or heard Mrs. Green on the radio or around town because she speaks all over Tucson and Arizona and the world, and is a growing figure of prominence internationally in thinking about how we can better care for and steward our planet. And she's right here in Tucson, which is really exciting, with connections to a lot of people here at St. Gregory and around our community. One of the things I really want to ask you all to do before the day is over, and I might email you this, is to become a fan of Mrs. Green on Facebook, because that's where you all can continue to stay regularly updated on her amazing thinking and ideas and resources about how you all can be a better global caretaker. And what an easy way to do it, because just about all of you are on Facebook, and you can like her on Facebook, and you can help her towards her 2,000 current campaign of fans. But we're very fortunate to have her. It's Earth Month. We've had some important initiatives here underway at St. Gregory in the business office, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you soon, and about green energy and solar energy. We're very excited about the work that's being done in design builds. How about the team working on the Green Ramada? Can you guys stand up for a second? Any of you here? Hey, there's Tariq and Carter and Greg. Working hard on that, and but I think there's already more going on, and Mrs. Green's going to sort of give us some ideas and energy, and I'm very happy, very eager for you to put your hands together and welcome Mrs. Green, who's also known as Gina Murphy-Darling, to St. Gregory.
Hi, everybody. So Gina Murphy-Darling fell on Sunday and is wearing a big boot. So just know, if I'm walking like this, I'm hobbling. I'm not old. It's just happened. I was really ticked off because, as I said to somebody, I sprained my ankle and I am Mrs. Frickin' Green, and it's Earth Month. It's not a good time. So anyway, here's what I would love to have happen today, and I don't know if it will. I decided to be Mrs. Green about 3.5 years ago because I started reading and reading and reading and reading about the shape our planet's in. And I got really upset and really scared and concerned, and I didn't want to have a radio show called Fear, okay? So I started to think about how could I get the message out to the planet eventually about little things they can do to make a difference, because the truth is we are at great risk. The other truth is, if we shift what we're doing, we can minimize that risk every day. And when I talk about risk, I'm talking about running out of certain natural resources. I'm talking about running out of place to put our garbage, okay? Because we are massive consumers. We have never had this many people on the planet that are buying Starbucks every day and saying, where are you throwing it? And they say, away. And I will tell you, when you start the population of India and China going up and wanting to consume just like we do and live just like Americans, there is no more way. So I went to the rainforest because I had to see if the deforestation was really that bad. And the rainforest, where they're clear-cutting the forest, and then it rains, and then there's a lot of erosion, it's really that bad where they've done it. And the really good news is there are hundreds of thousands of people from all over the planet who are doing everything they can to help preserve what's left, and they're doing it. So there's that. It's a global community. A funny story to me is that the way that Jonathan and I totally communicated about me coming here was on Twitter. I'm 60 years old, folks, okay? And the way that, when I looked to see where I was going to be today, I looked on my Twitter account to make sure I had the time right and the place right. So when you talk about a changing world, I can barely say it without laughing that I am on Facebook, that I tweet, that I write blogs, and that I do public speaking and sustainability. My radio show is on noon on Saturdays. So let me tell you a little bit about that. It's live streaming on KNST, and I interview people from all over the world that are scientists, that are kids, that are in fashion, that build things called earth ships, that are really beautiful homes that this guy started in New Mexico and was written up in the Wall Street Journal. But what I really want to have happen is I want to know what interests you. I want somebody to raise their hand and say, I don't think we're at risk at all because blah, blah, blah. I mean, I'll throw one statistic at you and see if anybody's close. How many plastic bags do you think Americans consume every 5 seconds? Okay. 65,000. He said 65,000. That's about right. In this country, we consume 65,000 plastic bags every 5 seconds, and the number is not going down, it's going up. So you might think, what's the big deal? Well, the big deal is they're made with foreign oil. There's petroleum in them. They never, ever, ever biodegrade, so they become waste. They don't know how long it takes. They say 500 to 600 years. Like, who cares if it's more than 20 years? Let's say 30 for me. I don't know how many years it is, but they're unnecessary. Plastic bottles, an invention in my lifetime, okay? Plastic bottles, the weight is much higher. We do about 23 million plastic bottles an hour in this country. Now think about the numbers. There are hundreds of millions of people. Everybody you see carries a plastic bottle. If you ever see me, you can out me and put my picture on Facebook and tweet it to the world, but I don't touch them anymore. I literally don't touch them. This bottle will keep water cold for 12 hours. And do I judge people that are using plastic bottles and go, ew, what are you doing? Of course not. I mean, it's counterintuitive to sustainability. But I do invite them to think about using a reusable bottle because it will save them a lot of money. People will pay $2 for a bottle of water a couple of times a day instead of taking that and refilling it a couple of times a day. So you save waste, you save money, and you help save the planet because, again, those are produced with a petroleum byproduct. There's oil in a lot of things. And with gas going to $6 a gallon, we want to do that. Yes, a question. When I tell everybody that does that, I applaud them because that's a step. So I don't know how many of you heard her. Her parents reuse plastic bags and save the paper bags for reuse. So I tell people, and I say this a lot to shift your mindset a little bit, the first R is reduce. So everything you do today, when you wash your hands or brush your teeth or eat your lunch, everything you do makes an impact on the planet. How you got to school, if you shut the water off this morning when you brushed your teeth, you can save 11,000 gallons a year as a family of 4 of water, of which it is rapidly disappearing. Clean water is rapidly disappearing. And scientists at the U of A I've had on my show, and they tell us why. When you say, well, there's the oceans. Well, in case you haven't noticed, it's really not easy to drink ocean water, and desalinization is a very expensive, labor-intensive process to get the salt out of water from the ocean. Because if we could do that easily, we really would never have to worry about it. So I don't worry a lot anyway. I try to make a difference. So to your point, that's wonderful, but what would really be wonderful is if you encouraged your families and practiced yourself to reuse bags. And I say on my radio show, people, we can have this one. Like, we got this one if we only decide we have. And then when you're going home today, look around and see how many plastic bags you can count blowing on trees. I think people from Europe come here and think it might be our national fruit because it's blowing on so many trees. And I drive my girlfriends nuts because I say, look, 6 plastic bags in 2 lights, 6 plastic bags. And now they're neurotic about counting the plastic bags. But believe me, if you're a close friend of mine, you really don't want to be caught dead with a plastic bag if I see you. Because if you're my friend, I can out you and say, really? Are you really using that plastic bag? So what kind of things would you like to hear about? I have a lot of information about one of my most favorite things is to talk about clothing made out of recycled material, like things like M&M bags and winning awards. There are lots of people in Hollywood that are very, very interested in being the cutting edge. I just saw one that was made out of Skittle wrappers, and it was a prom dress, and it was beautiful, and it was very hard, and she made it with glue, so it wasn't totally sustainable. But I would love to know if there are things that I can tell you or talk about that you have of interest. I have ideas for things that I would love to do with this school. You know, I have a very active Facebook page, and I want to get to 2,000 followers, and I'm at 1677 as of this morning. But I love it when someone posts on my Facebook page from Russia or the UK or New York City or, you know, Wisconsin. And to me, getting your demographic, your generation, it's everything. It's getting you to live consciously that I live for. So how can I engage you? And do you have questions? Are there things you'd like to know about? Is this a topic that interests you? How bad do you think it is? I mean, I know the school has to have kids with really good, solid opinions. Great question. If I was a pure dark greenie, I would never eat meat again. So that's the honest answer, because of lots and lots of reasons. It's one of the hottest topics that I'm writing about right now because of several meat videos that were sent to me. What I do in terms of changing that is I eat far less red meat. I buy my meat at farmer's market where I know that it's hormone-free, grass-fed, and cruelty-free. That's one of the biggest issues. And then I buy my meat at the University of Arizona. The students from the College of Agriculture have a program where the 4-H kids bring their cows and lambs and pigs once if they haven't sold them at market, and that is a big, huge, drastic change for me because the meat packing industry is awful. And I can't sugarcoat that. It's awful, and it's dirty, and it's cruel, and it's mean, and that is one of the strongest feelings I have. So I'm moving in the vegetarian direction by eating far less meat. And, you know, I just wrote a blog this morning, and it said it was about being a carnivore, the challenges of a carnivore, because I grew up being a meat and potatoes person, Irish, and I'm finding it harder and harder to eat meat because I know what's happening behind the scenes that's very, very, very homogenized and hidden from the general public. So that's a great question. That's the biggest change. Yes, hon? Totally. Reusable bags are everywhere. They are in Target, they are in every grocery store, they're in a lot of other retail stores. I have a little one that collapses that I carry in my purse so I don't get caught without it. So reusable bags, I mean, my husband, he's 58 years old. If he forgets when he goes to the grocery store, he goes back out to the car and gets the reusable bags, not because of me, because I've given him enough evidence to show him what kind of impact it's having on us. Now, in Europe, it's not an issue because Europeans are very, they really conserve resources much better than we do. So if you travel in Europe, I don't think I ever saw a plastic bag on the tree ever. They reuse them. And in Ireland, for example, they started charging 15 cents for every plastic bag in the grocery stores, and they reduced plastic bag consumption by 95% in 3 months. So they made people pay for them. And I remember once when we went to Italy, and there we were, the ugly Americans, and we had like probably 15 grocery bags. We were with 2 families, and we just had all these plastic bags. And I look, and it said 5 cents, 5 cents, 5 cents, 5 cents. And I said, what is this? I said, I think I knew those words in Italian. And they charge for every plastic bag they give you. And we looked around, and we were the ugly Americans. Nobody else had plastic bags. That was 5 years ago. So I started learning what other countries do. They think it's ridiculous. And here, I really do think we grow them on trees. What other kinds of questions? Because those are good questions. Yes?
We have a lot of technology in America and around the world to help with things, such as, some of the cars that have come out, this bottle, which, probably costs a fair bit of money. How about people who can't afford that, who are really locked into the cheaper items that cause a lot of waste? People they can't go and buy organic meat. We're going to get the cheapest stuff at the cheapest grocery store that's made on the biggest feedlot in Colorado, because they can't afford some of the luxuries that we really got to reduce. That takes money.
One of the first response that I'll do is, what I did for 35 years was Health and Human Services, so I worked with at-risk youth, in the lowest socioeconomic bracket in this state, and then I did it nationally. So what I know is millions of those people buy plastic bottles, and it's more expensive than buying. This is a very expensive bottle. It was given to me because I won a contest in New York City, and the name of the bottle is called Mrs. Green. So it was a complimentary bottle, and her demographic is for truly hot, hip women in New York City and around the country that want to have a cool bottle. I love it because it's Tucson and keeps it cold. I think that even in that socioeconomic bracket, people waste money by buying plastic bottles. They'll go into Circle K, and we did in-home family practice, so we were in homes, and this is something I personally observed. So one thing that I can say is most people think it might be more expensive to buy a reusable bottle, and they'll spend maybe $200 or $300 a year on plastic bottles that they don't even think about because it's only 2 hours at a time. And you can buy reusable bottles very inexpensively now, and you can get them at Goodwills. You can get them at Goodwills in places for $1. Okay, so that's one of the things that I think about. In terms of other things that I am a big proponent of, use less water and your water bill goes down. In my house, our electric bill just went down $40 a month because I didn't turn the heat on all winter. I wore sweaters, and it wasn't a very cold winter. And then in the summer, we have it up higher so that it's warmer, and we wear less clothing, so our electric bill went down. So from that perspective, I think it's really important. I want to talk about organic milk, because everybody can't go all organic. We don't. It's really pricey to do that. I will tell you that a lot of people who say they can't afford it are getting a Starbucks a day, and a lot of them I'd say the middle class, all right? Organic milk, the prices of that are going down and down and down because mothers all over the country said, stop putting hormones in your kids' milks. It's causing all kinds of disorders that have been absolutely publicized by scientists, front of Time magazine, front of Newsweek. So organic milk, it's one of those things that I think it's a huge conundrum, because the more people buy it, the cheaper it will be, and you've got to be able to afford it. So you're watching like this. Now Walmart is a leader in helping to bring organic things to the masses. And I'm not sure where I stand on the whole Walmart issue, because they have a lot of problems with their HR, with hiring practices. But big giants are getting on board because the consumer's demanding it. So I say to people, everything of celery that you buy in the store, if you buy celery, it's got 17 to 20 insecticides, pesticides, and herbicides on it. And I just had someone from Washington, D.C. on my show that verified. They have a list called the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. So if a family can't go all organic, you can look at the top 3 things and make a conscious choice to do it a little bit better. Reusable bags, everything I've been to in the past 3 weeks, they were given out like crazy. You don't have to buy them. You can get reusable bags. And again, I'm a big believer in a lot of things. You can go to Goodwill if you think like that and get things that are really cool, that are really at an affordable price. I applaud the young woman who's collecting clothes, because in my 35 years I met with lots of kids who didn't go to school because they didn't have the right clothes to wear, that didn't fit them, and they had no shoes. And it's here in Tucson rampant still. So that young lady, hats off to you for doing that. Yes, ma'am? If you look in Target, there's a lot more of their Method brand. There's a lot more greener choices, and you have to be really careful. But Method's getting a pretty high score from the independent organizations that rate them, and it's a greener brand with far less chemicals in it. And again, it's the price points are better. It's affordable. So Target is really trying to lead the way. And in terms of companies globally, one of the leaders, of course, is a company like Microsoft. They're not just creating greener technologies. They're creating a workforce with the hundreds of thousands of people that they employ to implement sustainable practices where they work. Recycling their paper, using both sides, not printing things if they have to. I had a guy, a vice president of sustainability from Microsoft on my show about a year ago. They have workstations where you can, let's just say you worked in Phoenix and you didn't want to be in the rush hour. They will set you up in a bus, they pick you up, that runs, it's a clean, fuel-burning bus, and they have workstations in buildings they own where you can go in and log in on work, and then when the traffic is down, they'll drive you to work because then you're not stopping and starting, so it reduces emissions. They also have buses that have been very popular where they'll pick people up like at a bus stop, and they're all set up to start work the minute they get on the bus. So they have a shorter work day and they're working when they're on the bus. So Microsoft is one that's, outstanding. In every industry, you can see industry leaders. Wells Fargo, the greenest bank in America and the 13th greenest company in the country. Who knows that? I found out and went to them and said, do you guys who work here even know that? Wells Fargo is a green bank? So there are a lot of industry leaders that are happening. Great questions, you guys. Thank you.
So I think Mrs. Green can stay a few more minutes if you want to come around individually and ask her a question or share something with her. 1. 2, I'm going to send out an email so that you can become a fan on Facebook and have a regular stream. For instance, Athena, you can see regular streams of things like recommended, like Wells Fargo or something, ongoing into your Facebook stream. 3, I want you, as you leave today and walk around campus, to start trying to think about what would it mean for this campus, for your experience of our school, to become a greener school, a more respectful of our planet school. And then I'd love for some people to want to come together and start making a plan for some student activism on that front next year, maybe working with Student Council and President Coco, I don't know, maybe working independently of that. And then there's even an opportunity, and if you're interested in this, let me know, or let Ms. Green know, we can think about this, whether we would want to have a St. Gregory group of students associated with the work she's doing on her website and on her Facebook page, and even beyond our school. So different opportunities. I'm going to try to bring back these reminders to you, keep this communication going, maybe do something through advisory as well, and see what energy can get going if you would like to be a part of that. And so let's sort of not lose this. Let's see if we can generate some momentum out of this. I think she even would be, I'll come back and work with our group once or twice and talk about some ongoing things. So we don't want to just let this go here. Thank you very much. Have a great day.